In the silence there is peace. In the silence there is unspoken joy. In the silence there's release from a world full of chaos and noise. So I wait for these precious moments when I hear all that could never be said, and right here in this holy silence I find God, I find myself. In the silence there is peace. In the silence there is unspoken joy. In the silence there's release from a world full of chaos and noise. So I wait for these precious moments when I hear all that could never be said, and right here in this holy silence I find God, I find myself. So I wait for these precious moments when I hear all that could never be said, and right here in this holy silence I find God, I find God, I find myself.
Good evening. Let us join together in consciousness as we begin this evening's service. I relax and breathe, surrender into that quiet, still place, the power within. Finding the divine presence filling my heart, mind, and soul, I move forward today with a sense of gratitude and grace, knowing that this day is a gift and a blessing. I honor the path, the journey, the day, and I welcome each moment with a grateful, grateful heart. This journey of life and living is filled with opportunities. Emotions shift and change, and the journey expands and grows by my loving attention. So I know that anger and fear, worry and sadness, grief and despair all exist within my thinking, within my emotional state. And I know that I am in control of my thinking. So I know there is a way. So, honoring the path and the process, honoring this day and this moment, I surrender everything into the power and presence of God. And I know without a doubt that all is well. I let this be my truth, and I release, I let go, and so it is. Well, welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living on the Lake. I'm so grateful that you're here this evening, and I hope something said or done tonight helps to bring joy to your life and your experience. I'd like to begin with a land acknowledgement, the way we begin all things here at CSL on the Lake. So I acknowledge that the land that we're meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit and the Williams Treaty signed with multiple Mississaugas and Chippewa bands. We're all in this together, and we are all one. So I honor our Indigenous family. We do have a few announcements today. We have a class starting on Thursday. This is an accredited class. It's a 6-week class to help you discover your life purpose, open up to loving relationships, improve your overall wealth, or create health in your life. Whatever it is you're looking for, there is the answers within us at that, there's that divine knowing inside. This course is going to help to reveal all of that to you. So you're invited to attend. Class begins either at 10 a.m. or 6:30 p.m., depending on your preference. And it begins this Thursday. The book that we'll be using is called Life Visioning by the Reverend Dr. Michael Beckwith. And Wednesday night, there's a free introductory workshop happening. Awakening the Goddess Retreat is coming, and I believe we'll be holding that in July. So you're invited, all women are invited to join Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And I will give you the lowdown, plus some great information, great takeaways. Whether you actually sign up for the retreat or not, you will get a blessing on Wednesday evening. So please come and join. And prayer requests. If you have a prayer request, do send it to me. And know that we do hold prayers every Monday to Friday in the morning at 7 a.m. and evenings Tuesday to Friday at 9 p.m. And you're welcome to just drop in. It's live on Facebook, but it's also on Zoom, and we can send you the links to that. All you have to do is send in your prayer request or your request for the link, either way. And remember, prayer requests are all held in confidence, so feel free to share those. Membership, if you've been thinking about membership, all members do get a 10% discount on all classes and workshops. So sign up today, become a part of this incredible new ministry here in Toronto. And on Friday, I have a very special guest on Friday. Well, all my guests are very special. This week, I have Anania. Anania is a marvelous, remarkable person. And if you got the newsletter, you'll get some information about her. Part of her bio's in there. It is going to be a fabulous hour. The Joy Show every Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern. So join me Friday if you can. And if you can't, go to YouTube and take a look at last week's show, which was fabulous. We had our board president, Nancy Miranda, on. It was a fabulous show. So if you're able to, please do. And if you know somebody who'd be a great guest, do let me know. I'd love to share the spotlight with them. Well, that's it for our announcements. And now it is what we believe. So we believe in God, the living Spirit Almighty, one indestructible, absolute, and self-existent cause. This one manifests itself in and through all creation, but is not absorbed by its creation. The manifest universe is the body of God. It is the logical and necessary outcome of the infinite self-knowingness of God. We believe in the individualization of the Spirit in us and that all people are individualizations of the one Spirit. We believe in the eternality, the immortality, and the continuity of the individual soul forever and ever expanding. And we believe that heaven is within us and that we experience it to the degree that we become conscious of it. And now, Empty Hands by Daniel Nahmod.
When my hands were emptied, when my hope was gone, I couldn't help but wonder what had I done wrong. But even though my heart was broken, there was no need to despair, 'cause a vessel must be open to put something better there. Oh yeah. Into my empty hands, gently you pour new life for me. Yours is a perfect plan. The ups and the downs were meant to be. Now I understand you needed my empty hands. So forgive me when I doubted, and I admit sometimes I do, or consider giving up, 'cause I cannot see the truth. I know I'll never go without your deep and abiding love. Oh, love. Into my empty hands, gently you pour new life for me. Yours is a perfect plan. The ups and the downs were meant to be. Now I understand you needed my empty hands. new life for me. Yours is a perfect plan. The ups and the downs were meant to be, and I cannot help but cry to think of the gifts you've given me. Now I understand you needed my empty hands. Oh, thank you for thank you for my empty hands.
Daniel Nahmod, wonderful songwriter, great musician, and just love his music so very much. Well, as we begin this evening, the talk is about anger tonight. How interesting is that? You know, we're looking anger in the eye, so to speak. And the reason we've come up with that title, or I think that the organization came up with the title because I didn't, but is looking at the fact that even within that, there is at the center, it like the eye of the storm, there is that calm, that place of possibility that we can return to. And what I wanted to start with this evening is a meditation that was written by Dr. Ernest Holmes many, many years ago, but really speaks to this idea. So I invite you to just take a moment and close your eyes if you're comfortable doing so, and just allow these words to land for you. I recognize that there's one power in the universe, infinite, creative, and intelligent, and all good. There is no limitation, agitation, or inflammation in spirit, and we are all pure spirit right now. There is perfect and divine order in every organ and function of the body. There is a discerning intelligence which separates the false from the true. No waste substances allowed to remain in the system. The joyous, free flow of life and spirit is now active through me, cleansing my mind and body from all impurities, in thought or of the flesh. There is no worry or agitation or irritation. I am sustained in a deep inner calm. Spirit flows through me and is never obstructed by anything unlike itself. There is no overreaction, no inaction, nor is there any wrong action of spirit within me. Its action is complete, harmonious, and perfect. Everything that does not belong to pure spirit is washed away. So such great words when we're talking about something like anger. And anger's something that I'm sure all of us have felt at some point in time or another. And it's something that we actually have the ability to control, to alter, and to change. And when we think about anger, you know, I think back to times when I would get really angry about a situation. And I do it less often now, which I'm really grateful for. But when anger comes up, what I always remind myself first and foremost is that it is a secondary emotion, never primary, always, always secondary. So when anger comes up, that means there's something else going on. There's something underneath it. It is not necessarily what's in front of me that has triggered the moment, but rather something deeper inside that is now being fueled by whatever's happening in my experience at the moment. So really, really important that we come to understand that. The other thing to remember is that everything that we act on, we're doing it by choice. And I know sometimes when we get angry, it doesn't feel like we have a choice. It feels like it's just out of our control. It's like this demon takes over and runs wild and rampant through our life, making a mess of everything. That little Tasmanian devil that was in the cartoons like a million years ago? Well, it's like he's running around creating chaos, right? But ultimately, we have a choice. There is within us the ability to begin to alter that and change it so that we can create harmony and peace and love, or whatever it is that we're seeking in our lives. And it really begins with consciousness. And so we go back to the beginning. One of the things that we talk about here at CSL is that we have the power to choose the words that we'll use, and our words have power. We also acknowledge that spiritual line treatment, or some people call it affirmative prayer, that has the ability to undo, untangle, and rewire my thinking process so that I can begin to calm down, relax, and begin to create in a much more harmonious way. So when I feel that energy coming up, the energy of anger, which is a powerful energy, so it's not all bad. I know sometimes we think, well, if somebody gets angry, that's really bad and we should be scared. Well, sometimes, yes. But oftentimes, it's not about that at all. That when the anger comes up, if we will acknowledge it, if instead of projecting it out here onto someone or something in front of us, if we just take a moment to pause. I remember as a little girl, my mom saying, count to 10. I thought that was the dumbest thing I ever heard. Count to 10. Yeah, right. Like I won't still be mad in 10 seconds. But counting to 10 is actually a really good idea, because what it's saying is pause for a moment. Take a pause. Count to 10. Take a pause. And just ask yourself, what do I need right now? Or what feeling is really here for me? What am I reacting to? If it isn't what's going on in front of me, which of course was the trigger, what if I go back a little bit? Maybe what I find out is sadness is there, or grief is there, loneliness is there, regret, shame, maybe guilt. There's something underlying that feeling of anger. And if we will take a moment to pause. Now, I love the song at the beginning of the service by Jack Fowler, in the silence. And what I love about that is whenever anger comes up, if we will stop for a moment and take a deep breath and just calm our minds and our bodies momentarily, not to discount what we're feeling, not to try and erase what we're feeling, not to eliminate or force down what we're feeling, but rather to sit in the feeling without reaction or action, but simply to sit in it. And by sitting in that feeling, we can begin to notice it, ask questions of it, like, when have I felt this way before? See, if I can get a sense of when I've felt this way before, I might come to understand where this actually first came about. Because sometimes what happens is that we have a series of events through our lives. And those events have installed, I think of it as, buttons have been installed, and then somebody comes along and accidentally pushes them, and, we blow up or overreact or something. But if we back it up for a moment, if we just sit in the energy of it, not calling it bad or wrong, because anger is not bad or wrong, it's simply an experience we're having in a certain event. If we look at the event as neutral and ask a couple of questions, we can begin to get some answers, which would then help us to change a few things and maybe move forward with a greater sense of possibility of changing that emotion into what is really going on. So I know that there's experiences that happen in our lives that can be very annoying and frustrating. One for me is getting put on hold, and the automated messages on, places like, oh, I don't know, anywhere, Rogers, Enbridge, wherever you want to phone, Government of Canada, whoever you want to phone. There's always, press 1 for this and press 2 for that and 3 for this and 4 for that and 5 for this and 6 for that, 7 for this, 8 for that. Oh, and by the way, and if you missed that, let me just go back to the beginning and start all over again. And none of the options ever is to speak to a human being. Press that never seems to be part of it. So those things can be frustrating, right? Well, what is the frustration really? Are we angry at a machine? Yeah, sometimes. But how does that serve us? And does it get us anywhere? And, I'm speaking to myself right now because this is one of the things that I find very frustrating is when I get, or put on permanent hold and then disconnected and then call back and get put on hold again and, go to be transferred and the transfer drops and end up having to call back again. So little things can really upset us, but I think what we want to do, or I would hope what we want to do, is we want to live very consciously. And by living consciously and authentically, what happens is we begin to free ourselves from these stories we've been told, from the information that we've received, and we open ourselves up to actually experience life in a much more powerful and positive way. And by acknowledging all of the emotions that we have, anger being one of them, and resting in it and knowing that within it, there is a place of calm. Like in the midst of that, if we just pause for a moment, that count to 10 thing, pause for a moment and sit in the anger. When have I felt this way before? It's a funny thing when you ask that question, a memory pops up almost magically. And when that memory comes up, if we will look at it, and it might have nothing to do with what's going on right now, but the emotion that we're feeling matches the emotion back then. And it might be some little thing of when we were a child or a teenager or whatever. If we will just sit with that, we come to understand maybe how the button got created in the first place and what the triggers are. And knowing that gives us power. Awareness is power. When we become aware of why we're doing certain things in the way that we are, why we feel certain things in the way that we feel it, when we begin to notice and acknowledge that, what happens is we now free ourselves to make a different choice. Doesn't mean that we're not upset by what's going on, but maybe by calming ourselves down and lifting ourselves up, we find the solution. We find a way through it. A dear friend of mine years ago was taking a trip to Edmonton and needed to rent a car to do that. And she goes to the car rental place. And before she went there, she made sure she made a payment on her Visa because it had been maxed. She'd used it for travel and stuff. So I better make a payment on this so I've got room for this rental car. So she gets to the rental car agency and they go, well, we can't authorize your Visa. They won't authorize it. She said, oh, well, give me the phone. And this is in the days when you could actually talk to a human being at Visa. And she's talking to the woman and the woman's going, well, there's nothing we can do. Your account's at its max. And she goes, well, I just made a payment at the bank for this amount at this time today. And she goes, well, it'll take a few days before it registers. And she's going, yeah, I know that. And she said, so I know there's a solution and I know we're really creative here and I know that you can find it. So let's work on that. And the woman kept saying, well, there's nothing I can do. And my friend kept saying, yeah, I know there must be a way. I know you can figure this out. I know you can do this. Eventually, I think she wore the poor woman down and she got her rental car for the weekend. The interesting thing is, had she gotten upset, she wouldn't have gotten anywhere. At that point, probably the person would have hung up on her or whatever, but she wouldn't have got what she needed. And the thing is that sometimes we get upset because we're wanting something really badly, or we think we need something really badly, or there's something essential to our well-being. And fear is what's fueling this anger that we might be feeling. And if it's fear that's fueling it, what we want to do is dispel the fear. What is it that I'm afraid of? Is it I'm afraid I'm going to get hurt again? Am I afraid that I won't get to do this thing that I've already planned to do? Am I afraid that someone won't like me? Am I afraid? What am I afraid of? And again, remember that fear is often false evidence appearing real, right? It's something I've fabricated in my imagination to cause me to make certain decisions in certain ways. Doesn't mean it's truth. So we want to pay attention. We want to pay attention to everything that's going on in our lives so that we can begin to create from a place of conscious awareness, which really is ultimately what we teach here at CSL, is that our mind creates our world. Our mind, our consciousness creates our reality. What am I thinking about moment to moment? What am I thinking about day to day? Am I thinking about so-and-so ticked me off and such made a mess? And can you believe what they did and what that person did? And oh, did you hear what so-and-so said? La, 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 right? We're talking the story. What we want to do is stop all of that. What somebody else does is none of your business. It's none of my business. But what I do is my business. What I think is my business. And here's the thing about thoughts. The thoughts that we think create the world that we live in. So if I'm thinking negative, destructive thoughts ongoing, that's what's going into the universal, the collective consciousness, the race consciousness. And so I become part of the problem. If I'm thinking negatively into the consciousness of the one, then that consciousness is actually pulling down the collective. If I look at my world and go, wow, it'd be nice if there's a lot more peace in my world, well, peace begins where? Right here. Peace begins in me, peace begins in you. Nowhere else. If I'm looking for a peaceful world, then I need to create it. I need to create it. So by living in a peaceful state, by working on maintaining that peaceful state, on allowing myself to truly honor all of the emotions that I feel without labeling any of them, knowing that joy and anger are equally valuable, right? Wait a minute, did she say anger was valuable? Yeah, she did. There's a number of organizations that have been created as a result of somebody getting really angry and going, something needs to be done. Look at Mothers Against Drunk Drivers. Mad, right? Somebody got really mad and decided, you know what, we have to do something about this. We have to stand up to this. And all of a sudden, you've got this organization that's been around now for many, many years, and I believe it is making a difference. Drinking and driving, I'm hoping, is down, and hopefully that it's just becoming more and more clear to people that drinking and driving is not a great idea. There is organizations out there that do all kinds of work, and some of it has come out of the pain and anguish of families, parents, spouses, children. Whatever is going on in the world around us, it is absolutely essential that we find in our own heart and mind a consciousness of love that we can begin to share in the world around us. But it has to begin where we are. And the only way we can do that is to begin right here. So if I'm feeling angry about something, that is not anybody else's fault. Okay? First and foremost, no one can make me angry. No one can make you angry. Just like nobody can make you happy. Nobody can make you feel beautiful Nobody can make you feel anything. Everything we feel comes from within us based on how we think about the current circumstances we find ourselves in. So depending on where you're at will depend on how you respond to the world around you. In order to create a peaceful life and a peaceful world, we must begin there. So I go back to Jack Fowler's song. Go back to Jack Fowler's song, In the Silence. We take time every day in meditation and or prayer or both. And we take time to fuel our divine nature, to fuel that aspect of us that is so beyond the material world, that energy within us that is the power of life itself. And we fuel that and we feed that by taking time in the silence. And I love Daniel Nahmot's song, Empty Hands. It reminds me of being open, of being willing to receive something new. You see, if my hands are clenched, I can't grab anything. I can't accept anything. I can't bring anything in. But if my hands are open, I'm able in that moment to receive the blessings that the universe has for me and has for you. Whatever's going on in our lives, we have the ability to alter it and change it through consciousness. Everything begins in consciousness. Everything begins with an idea in mind. What am I thinking about day by day? Am I thinking about how they've done it to me? Am I thinking about how the government's wrong and bad? Am I thinking about, oh, this terrible person, that terrible person, they did this, they did, or am I taking time within myself to know that I'm a beloved child of the universe, that I'm honored, admired, and respected by the divine, and that there is within me this invisible power, and I'm using it moment by moment, day by day. And the way I use it is through my conscious thought and my subconscious belief system. And my consciousness can eradicate and erase, alter, and change those beliefs. You see, it's all up to me. It's all up to you. The life that we live can be a joyous celebration or a challenging hell. It's just how I think about it that makes it so. So as I'm thinking about my life, I want to think about ways to make it better, and not just for me, but for everyone. I really, truly want to live in a world where we honor all people. Not the ones we like or not the ones that look like us, but all people, recognizing that every single person on the planet has a right to be here. Every single person on the planet is a gift and a blessing. Every single person on the planet is created unique and special. So the very best thing in the world that I can do is accept me for me and accept you for you. And in the ways that you're different than me, yay, I get to learn new, wonderful, fabulous things as a result of knowing you. And that is so uplifting and so powerful. So I'm really, really excited to think about life in a new way and to take responsibility for what's mine to be responsible for, which is my thinking, and to let go of all the rest. See, I'm not responsible for the unfolding of the universe. I am responsible for the way I think about life and how it's unfolding. And how I'm thinking is, in fact, going to create harmony, love, joy, and peace in the world, or destruction, hatred, and dysfunction. I can create dis-ease or I can create harmony. It's all a matter of ideas, right? And think about disease for a second here. Imagine for a moment, remember a time when you got really angry? Like I can think of a few times on the 401, for example. Somebody driving too fast, jumps across 4 lanes of traffic and, cutting everybody off and scaring us all. I watched a van one day come flying across, merging in, flies across 4 lanes, hits the median, bounces back into the middle lane, never hit anybody else, just the median. And from there, slowed down quite a bit. But in my mind, I'm like, whoa, whoa, what's going on here? What is this person thinking? But sometimes we're not. Sometimes we're in a hurry, and sometimes we're not noticing the person beside us or in front of us. Sometimes we're just rushing through life. And the very best thing each one of us could do is bring love to that space where instead of cursing somebody who's doing it different than us, maybe we bless them and send them some love in the hopes that maybe they'll find their way and their rhythm and their possibility. There's so much in the world right now that we can be angry about. There is so much. We can be angry about COVID. We can be angry about having to be vaccinated. We can be angry about wearing or not wearing masks. We can be angry about having to work on Zoom or on StreamYard or on whatever all the time. We can be angry about, not being able to earn a living. We can be angry about business issues. I'll tell you, I can make a list, a shopping list of what we should be angry about. There's lots of it. But when I'm angry, two things occur physically for me. When I get really angry, my blood pressure goes up, my life expectancy goes down. I ask you, is it worth it? I think not. That's why I'm working on changing it. That's why I'm working on doing it different. Every time I get on the phone with Rogers or whoever, take a breath, count to 10. Sometimes I count to 100, but count I will. The interesting thing is that the world outside of us has already been created. And what I think about it is now creating my next moment or my next possibility. If I look at the world out here and judge it as wrong and bad and terrible and awful, blah, 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 what I'm guaranteed is that whatever's coming following this is going to match that energy because that's the energy I'm putting out. The law of attraction is exact. I can only bring into my life that which I am. So if I'm angry all the time, then my life will match that anger. But if in fact I go, wait a minute, let me do something differently. Let me shift my energy. Let me look at the world in a new way. Let me look within myself first to find out what's going on with me. And then from there, choose to create in love, peace, and harmony. What happens is then the reflection in the world out here begins to match that new idea. Every single event of itself is neutral. And I know it's neutral because depending on who you ask, you will get different stories. Am I right? I mean, I was raised in a household with 10 kids, yours, mine, and ours, right? There was 10 children. I was the eldest. I guarantee you could sit down and talk to all of us about any given Christmas or Thanksgiving or whatever, and we will all have a different story to tell you. But the event of itself was exactly the same. But how we interpreted it, the way we felt about it, that is individual. That comes from our own collective consciousness, our own individualized consciousness, then into the collective. So if I think it's awful, bad, and terrible, then that's going to mark it probably for others as well. If I start talking about it later, about how terrible it is, if I start gossiping about it, then I begin to create that energy of anger and frustration, of pain and sorrow. That's when I'm in hell. But if I switch that and go, wait a minute, it is what it is. Let me shift my energy and my thinking into a new idea. I begin to see what's possible. Then I can take the time to weigh and measure. I can find out what's really going on for me. I can deal with that. I can choose to, love and adore my true authentic self, honor and respect it, and then share that in the world. I have choice. In the eye of the storm, there is calm. When we look into the eye of anger, that calm exists in the center of it. And we can always return to it. Always return to it. It is in the moment that I accept that my anger comes from me in reaction to some event but probably an event that happened very early on in life that has caused me to believe in a certain way. And I have the power to change that. So I invite you today to really acknowledge the moments when you get angry and just take a pause for a moment when it comes up. Don't force it away. Don't call it bad and wrong. Just simply sit with it for a time. Don't live there. Don't move in. Don't let anger move in its baggage and stay with you forever, but rather allow yourself to just sit with it and go, when have I felt this way before? And then when the memory comes up, which it will, just ask yourself, what do I need? What do I need right now? And then meet the need. That's all you got to do. Meet the need. Thank you. God bless you.
In beauty, may I walk all day long. May I walk through the seasons. May I walk. May I walk in peace. May I walk in peace. On this path, may I walk through my life. May I walk in old age. May I walk. May I walk in peace. May I walk in peace. May I walk, 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 may I walk in peace. May I walk in peace. In joy, may I walk. May I walk in love. May I walk. May I walk in gratitude. May I walk. May I walk. May I walk in peace. May I walk. May I walk in peace. In peace. In stillness, may I walk in forgiveness. May I walk in loving kindness. May I walk. May I walk. May I walk in peace. In peace. May I walk. May I walk in peace. In peace. May I walk. 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 May I walk in peace. May I walk in peace. In peace. May I walk in peace. In peace. May I walk. May I walk in peace. In peace now. May you walk. May you walk. Always walk in peace. In peace. May we walk. May we walk in peace. In peace. May I walk. May I walk with loving kindness. In love. May you walk in joy.
And let us anchor the idea of peace. Please join with me in consciousness. As I take the idea of peace and love and gratitude and forgiveness into my mind and heart, I relax my body. I surrender myself fully into the presence and power of God, knowing that there is this infinite strength within me, this infinite power and potential that allows me to walk in peace, to stand in the face of my fears and my worries, my angers and my frustrations, and to acknowledge the grace of God, to release my judgment and criticism of self and others, that I might surrender fully to the divine, that I might acknowledge that God is fully present right here, right now, in all things at all times. And I need not worry nor despair, but rather lift my faith into the heavens, that I might fully realize my true value, my true worth, that I might surrender into this moment and live fully and completely with passion and purpose, and that I may walk in peace, not just today, but every day, moment by moment. So today I set an intention, and my intention is to love, to laugh, to play, to live in peace, to walk in peace, to rejoice in the glory and the magnificence of Spirit. With a grateful and humble heart, I release these ideas into the divine, and I know all is well. I let that be the truth, and so it is. Well, it's that time in our service where we pass the virtual basket. So I invite you, as you drop in your tithes and offerings, to do so with love. And please say with me the offering affirmation. It's on your screen now. Divine love consecrates my gift. It goes forth to heal, to bless, to prosper. It is evidence of my conviction. It does its good and perfect work through me now. And so it is. And there are a few ways you can give to CSL on the Lake. You can do so by e-transfer to revb@cslonthelake.com. You can also go to our website, cslonthelake.com, and hit the give link, and you can donate through there. Or you can mail us a check at Center for Spiritual Living on the Lake, 38 Kootenay Crescent, Toronto, Ontario, M1J1R7. And of course, all donations are tax deductible. And on that note, I just want to bless this offering by saying thank you. We receive it in love, we bless it with love, and we send it into the universe with love. All is well, and so it is. And let us close with our closing song. And it is, if I could only remember the name, I Forgive Me by Charles Holt.
I'm tired of the guilt that brings me pain. Now is the time for me to let go of the shame. The past behind me, I see anew. I'm ready for my change. I'm ready for my change. I forgive me. I forgive me. Everything that I've been holding on to, I let go. I surrender. I surrender. I'm ready for my change. I'm ready for my change. I forgive them. I forgive them. Everything that I've been holding on to, I let go. I surrender. I surrender. Said I'm ready for my change. Oh, I'm ready for my change. I forgive me. I forgive me. Everything that I've been holding on to, I let go. Surrender, yes I do. No, I'm ready for my change. Oh, I'm ready for my This is Charles Hall.